Hi Flosstube! Welcome to this video. My name is Anna and I'm here to talk about cross stitch. Today is Sunday, October 30th. Ethan is sleeping and my husband is upstairs with the baby monitor, so we should have at least a few minutes here to give a quick update on what I've been working on. So I'm going to go over the things I've worked on in October. Not as much progress as last month, but that's okay. Then I will talk about my plans for November. Then I will announce the winner of the giveaway from last time. I'll talk a little bit about some things that I purchased. There's really not much this time. And then I'll give a little bit of an update about life with Ethan at the end. I haven't really sat and thought about what I'm going to talk about, so who knows, there might be not much or I might ramble on for a while. So we'll start with the stitching and go from there. So like I said, October, I didn't have as much progress as I did in September, but that's understandable. We had a family come and visit earlier in October, my husband's sister and her two girls who are 11 and 13. They came to stay for the weekend and help out around the house and mostly hang out with Ethan, who is 13 weeks today. He'll be 3 months tomorrow, technically, at the end of October. So it was great to have them here, but having guests in the house, even if they're helping with house stuff, just means I don't have time to go sit by myself and watch Flosstube and stitch. So I didn't get much done then. And then my mom was here this past week. I went back to work last Monday. I am working remotely, so I'm at home and I'm able to take care of Ethan, but those work hours really cut into the leisure hours, don't they? So anyway, I didn't get a whole lot of progress, but I do have some to show you. So I'll go ahead and show you now. I'll start with my Halloween project since it's really, on point with Halloween tomorrow. It's still in my hoop and I'm not going to take it out. This is called the Halloween Banner Sampler, and it's from Just Cross Stitch magazine. And I don't have the magazine with me, but hopefully I'm showing you right now what it's supposed to look like. I'm making a couple of little changes, but here is where it is. Not a whole lot of progress on this one. I filled in some of the black border here and some of the black on his mouth, and then I filled in some of the orange on this one. I'm stitching this on 32 count Picture This Plus in the color Jewel, which is to me the perfect Halloween color, especially with the green and the orange. I like this project. I think it's going to look great when it's done. I move my needle minder over a little bit so you can see. I'm editing this side a little bit to make it a little bit smaller. This one is interesting. I have a variety of projects in a variety of fabrics, just to mix things up, and if I get bored with something I can change to a different subject matter and a different color fabric, whatever. This one is, I'm never really in the mood for this one because the 32 count dark Picture This Plus requires great light for me to work on, and that's typically during the middle of the day. But the actual pattern is so simple, it's so straightforward, especially through here. It's just fill in with this lighter orange that during the day, I have the attention span and the focus to do something more challenging. So I'm never really in the mood for this one where I have good light, but it's just kind of mindless stitching. But today when I'm watching football, I might work on this one some more. If I do make more progress on it, I'll show you next time, but otherwise, it's going to go away at the end of the season. So maybe I'll stitch on this tomorrow, but I have work, so we'll see. Anyway, I like the result, and I think I would like to have this done and up for Halloween. It just doesn't always get a lot of attention. So that's my progress on that one. Yeah, I'm not planning to stitch on it in November, but I might stitch it in the next couple days. So I also worked on, I usually start with my full coverage, so I'll pull that out now. I worked on my Artisy full coverage project. This one is called Fright Night Crop. So there's a bigger one on their website. And this is the preview. I'm working in diagonals down here, and I just barely got to the edge of this jack-o'-lantern. I did not quite finish this diagonal column, but I will probably finish it today. And it's one of those things where I was like, well, should I stitch this morning and finish that column so that I have a finished section to show you guys, or should I just get on here and record while I have the chance? So we're here recording, and I have just a tiny bit of that diagonal left. So let me unravel it here, pull it through. Oh, just lost my needle minder on the floor. I'll have to get that later. I've got parked threads everywhere, and you're seeing the back of it. I'll show you that again in a second. But here's where we're at on this one. So you can see I did this another diagonal through here. I'm pretty much finished with this scarecrow now. And then I got down here, more roots, and then I started just the very edge of that jack-o'-lantern. You can kind of see in here where his mouth's going to be, I think. And then kept going down here, and I have just a tiny bit left and some threads parked to get that done. So yeah, I think I can finish this diagonal today. I should have a chance while we're watching football, mostly because my husband's here to hold the baby when he's awake. My mom left this morning, so she's not here to hold him anymore. And then I wanted to show you, so many threads. In that little pumpkin, there were just like a couple stitches, and that was it because of that little section. And so you can see all of these different colors are in those few little stitches, and then they're parked right next door in the next column for when I get down there again. But that's a lot of different colors in there for that small little area. And it's exciting to have something in the foreground start to come through. I also stitched more of this dark 939. It's a really dark blue, almost black, and it's the dominant color here. So I stitched all the way down to the corner here, and now I'm stitching across. And there's probably just a couple more lengths of that color through here, and then that color will be completed through the whole project. So my plan for this one is to finish this column, and then I'll probably keep this out as my full coverage, just because it's on its way to being finished. And I'll do another column, and I might choose another color to start completing through here. But we'll see. I, got very close to finishing this column this month, so maybe I can do another one next month. We'll have to see. Like I said, I was going to show you the back. You can see, well, it's a little messy. This top row of pages I was doing cross country. This row of pages I was doing strictly parking through the columns, so it's much more matted and thick. And then through here I'm doing a mix of cross country and columns, so you just kind of see the different methods and how they lay on the back. But that's where we're at. Like I said, I'm going to keep working on this one as my full coverage. And yeah, still enjoying it. It's nice. Stitching full coverage is definitely a different style of stitching, I think, from all other stitching. And I enjoy doing it. It takes so long for one project that I think just one full coverage at a time is going to be best for me. Let's see. I also worked a little bit on the squirrel, my Marishka kit. I think I just did one length on this, but I'll show you anyway since I have it here. I'm planning on keeping this one out for November just because it's so seasonal. And I'd like to keep going. Oh, it looks like I did 2 lengths on this one. So there it is. I did another length in the squirrel's ears and face, which brought me over to one of the leaves, and I started working on one of the leaves. I figured I could bounce between the squirrel and all of the foliage around it, just to keep my interest in this project. Oh, I didn't mention that the Artisy pattern is on 18 count Aida, 2 strands over 1 on Aida, which is something that I'm going to continue to do on that one and my other full coverage, but if I start another full coverage, I might try a smaller count. This one is on 32 count Belfast linen. I can't remember the color. I think that it might be flax. Yeah, 32 count Belfast linen in flax. It's a nice neutral. So yeah, just this. There are oak leaves in this one, I think, and acorns and things. So there's his little face. He's got little hands in here somewhere. So I'll keep this one out just because it's very fall, very Thanksgiving-ish, and see if I can get a few more lengths on that one. I know different people mean different things when they talk about a length of thread. Because that's 2 over 2 on 32 count linen. One length for me is like 1 arm length to this shoulder, and then I fold it in half. So it doesn't go as far as like 2 of those stacked together. But that's the length that works for me. Okay, the other project that I worked on my Mill Hill kit. I'm doing a routine this year, or like what is the word? A schedule, or I'm missing the word. But my routine for stitching, or how I choose my projects, every month I'm stitching on something that I started in that month in the past, just to make sure that I stitch on all of my projects throughout the year. And then I'll also pick something that's seasonal, or I don't know, something that gives me variety in my stitching. And I store all of my WIPs down here in the office, and then I pick 3 or 4 that I put upstairs in the living room. I've got like a cubby in our TV stand, and my husband has one, and you put whatever you want in your cubby, and if I'm tidying up throughout the house and he's got stuff sitting out, I'll just shove it in his little shelf in there. So I can fit 3 or 4 projects in there, and then I don't have to come down here to pick one out. Anyway, that's how I choose my projects. I pull them out for the month, and then I swap them out at the end of the month. Well, in August, I was supposed to work on this kit, and that just didn't happen because the beads are just a lot to deal with. And with a brand new baby in August, he was born July 31st, I just didn't even try. And so this one, I was doing so good with that pattern of stitching on everything, and I just skipped over this one. So I wanted to pull it out again, and I got some progress on it. So let's see. I'll pull it out. A little piece of paper. So there it is. Let's see. I finished beading the outside of this, and I put beads around most of this. I worked on the cross stitches down through here, and then this tree is done down to like here, cross stitches and beading. So there's still a lot more to go on the tree. There's a lot more in the whole picture. And let's see. There's much more to do. But I made pretty good progress, and getting it out and getting used to beading again made me think that I could keep going on this without too much trouble. So I'm glad I worked on this. This is Mill Hill Buttons and Beads, the Christmas Village Winter Series, and this is called Country Church. So I made progress on this, and I do enjoy beading. It's just, again, I have to be able to sit at like the dining room table, so I'm not all hunched over trying to get beads on my needle, and I have to have enough time that I can do a whole length of thread, or the beads will start to fall off unless I tie off my thread. Anyway, I'll probably keep this out for November just because, again, it's seasonal and I'm enjoying working on it. So that is the Milho kit I've been working on. Okay, that's everything I've been working on. I feel like I'm talking really fast because I got a text from my husband asking me to let him know when I'm done here. So clearly there's some activity upstairs that I need to tend to. But I can spend a few more minutes. So I'm keeping out a lot of these for November. I'm keeping out my full coverage Fright Night. I'm keeping out the squirrel. I'm keeping out this Mill Hill kit. And then my project for November, you know, the birthday month or the anniversary month of starting this is my dragonfly. This is a Wee Beasties pattern. Let's see if I can find the cover photo. This is I think it's the common green darner. These patterns are out of print and they're difficult to find. I got this at an estate sale years ago before I was even close to experienced enough to stitch it. It's challenging to stitch. So there it is, and I'll show you my starting point on it. We'll see how much I get done because I need really good light for this. I'll show you why. This is where I'm at right now. So a whole lot of his body is done. Oh, you can really see the sparkle, at least on the body. And this wing is almost entirely cross-stitched. So I think during my whip parade, I said that my goal this year was to finish stitching the wing and do all the back stitch on it. So this month, I would like to do that. Finish cross-stitching, which I've mentioned, it's like clear thread on white fabric. So once I get the back stitch on it, I think it will be rewarding to have that done. But in the meantime, I need really good light and some patience to deal with the Kreinik that goes into this. So I'm adding this to the rotation for November, and maybe I can get that goal done. We'll see. So there's that one. And then also for November, I mean, this is 4 projects, so I'm not sure. I'd like to pull out my Horn of Plenty because that's very seasonal for November. Yeah, so I will, what am I going to do next? I said I would, I guess those are plans for November, what I'm working on. In November, we are going to visit my family in Kansas for Thanksgiving. So we'll be driving with Ethan. It'll be our first trip like that. So we have to decide what kind of equipment we're bringing and how that it'll be about 7-hour drive. We'll go with a baby. He'll be not quite 4 months old then. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure if I'll take stitching with me or not. We end up seeing my cousins and their kids, so there's a lot of activity and not a lot of downtime. So I'm not sure I'll even take stitching with me, but we'll see how that goes. It's wonderful to spend time with family and looking forward to seeing my grandma and, you know, the whole family for that holiday, for Thanksgiving. Okay, so last video I had a giveaway. I am giving away some Prairie Schooler patterns, the Prairie year that I finished, and then some other ones that I had. So this morning before recording, I listed all of the comments that mentioned Prairie Schooler, and then I did a random number generator, and it generated the number 1. And so the first person who left a comment on my video was Jenny D in QLD. I think that's probably Queensland, maybe Australia, right? Sorry, I've got speakers making some static. I hope you can't hear that. Anyway, Jenny D in QLD, congratulations, you won the giveaway. I'll comment on your comment, and the best way to connect with me is through Instagram. My Instagram is Anna Hughes Cross Stitch. Yes. I don't post on Instagram very often. I'll do my progress pictures every month, but I'm just not very active there. Anyway, I'll connect with you, and if that doesn't work, we'll figure out some other way to get your address, and then I'll get those patterns in the mail for you. I'm not doing a giveaway today because I am not prepared. So I'll just go right into what I purchased this month. I went to several estate sales and bought nothing, which is great. I went to one where I picked up some things. So I'll show those really quickly. I got this stack of all lavender and lace patterns. This whole stack here was $3. I took them up to the front thinking I don't need all of these. I don't want all of these. I'll just see how much they're asking for and just pick some of them out. And I showed her and she's like, let's say $3. I was like, okay, that works for me. So I got this metallic embroidery thread from DMC. I'm not sure what size it is. Does it say? I'll have to figure out what size it is and all of that and how I want to use it. But, just metallic thread. I'm sure I can find a use for it. I also got some pieces of Ada. These are like really precious colors, like kind of like baby pink or baby yellow, like pastel colors. Yellow and blue and green, which I didn't think that I would use, but now that I have a baby, like all the cutesy stuff is starting to look a lot more appealing to me. So I got these Ada, I think they're all 14 count. Yeah, all 14 count, so I'll put these in my stash and maybe I'll find something springy to stitch on them. And then the rest of these are lavender and lace patterns, so just a variety of patterns here. I'm not sure that I'll stitch these. I'm sure I won't stitch all of them because there's so many of them. And some of these I already have in my stash or ones that I know I'm not going to stitch. So I'll just put them in the pile for selling or giveaway. But some of them, like this one, looks really Christmassy. What is this? Angel of Christmas. I like that one. Just lots of them. This one I actually think I thought there were two of them, but it's actually slightly different. This one has a candle. It's been opened, but the pattern's in there. This one has a wreath. Just a lot of them. I've seen this one. I think it's really cute. It's really, really pretty with the Christmas tree there. The two little kids, I'm not sure about. It's great as an overall picture, but I don't know. It might be better for me, with just the tree. Is that bad to edit out the children in this one? There's some other ones in here. Yeah. Yep, I already have this one, so that's for sure going in the pile. So that's what I picked up at the estate sale. I didn't even count how many there are here, at least 10. So pretty good grab on those, and that's my haul for the month of October. I don't have much opportunity to go to them anymore because I'm not taking Ethan with me, and now that I'm working, I can't go on like a Thursday. So anyway, that was my haul. Moving into life with Ethan very quickly because, again, I think that he's awake upstairs. Yeah, he's 3 months old tomorrow. I can't remember what all I said about him last month, but he's just growing so quickly. I don't think I talked about this last time, but one thing that is astonishing to me is how much he loves books. We got a lot of advice, and you see posters at the library that's like, it's never too early to start reading with your baby. And when he was a month old, my husband and I were like, it's too early. He's a baby. He doesn't want to read books. But at around 6 weeks old, I was getting bored with some of his toys. And so I was like, all right, let's just read a book and see what happens. And he was just like on it. He loved the pictures. It was like a high contrast. That's my cat getting out of her cat tree. Sybil. Anyway, it was a high contrast book, so the pictures were really vivid and there weren't very many words on it. But he was just so attentive to it. It was crazy. So I pulled out another book and he was just looking at it, just quietly watching me read these books. And so from 6 weeks old, we started incorporating books into playtime, and again, mostly it was because I was getting tired of like these little rattle toys that he wasn't even reaching for. So now we've incorporated reading into his playtime, and he loves books. At 3 months now, you can tell he gets excited. He moves his arms and legs when there's a new book or one of his favorite books, and he's just glued to it. He's like waiting for the page turn. He's looking at all the pictures. It's incredible. So I'm sure different babies have different preferences, but if you got a little baby, it maybe is never too early to read to them. He seems to really like it, and he seems to be catching on to reading time. Like when we put down the pillow and we're getting ready to pull out books, he starts to get excited. So I think that for us, reading is a really important part of our lives, in our jobs, and just in our free time. So getting him to love books it's going to be easy and is great, I think. So otherwise, he's not really doing much else developmentally. He's not trying to roll over. He's starting to reach for toys more, and he's swooping his arms and bringing them into his mouth. So that's a new thing. We used to know he was hungry if he would try to put things in his mouth, but now he's doing it as like a hobby. So it's a little harder to read him in general. But he's just a great baby. I feel like, Kitty, can you wait? She can't wait. She needs to go out of the door. Maybe she just wants the door to be open so that she has the option to come or go. Kitty. Shh. Shh. Okay, if it's not the baby, it's the cat. So, what was I saying about Ethan? It doesn't matter. He's a baby. He's a great baby. Oh, what I was going to say is that he's sleeping at night. We didn't have to do any sleep training or anything like that. He just sleeps at night, which is wonderful, in like 6-hour blocks. And he'll get up once to eat, but then he'll go back to sleep. And it's just incredible. We're waiting for him to go into like sleep regression or start teething or something to mess with that. But for now, we're enjoying him sleeping. And so that's been great, and he's great. It's tough to go back to work. This last week, my mom was here, so he had grandma for playtime. This week, we're on our own, so we'll see how we handle his awake time during the day. But then the next week, my mother-in-law will be here, so he'll be handled again. He'll have someone to play with, and then we can work. So it's been tough to go back to work and know that he's upstairs playing with somebody else. But it's just part of life and being professional and going back to work. So on that front, I am happy to be back at work and interact with my coworkers and have adult activities to do and conversations to have. It's nice to use my brain again. So it's just life, just having to deal with that transition. Anyway, my cat is just being needy, and I've talked a long time, and the baby needs me, so I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm sorry if this is a little fast and a little disorganized. I really didn't organize my thoughts before starting, so anyway. Thank you guys for commenting. I loved all your comments, and I really appreciate some of the advice that's coming through, people who have been through this stage of life. It's really good to know that a lot of what I'm dealing with is normal and exciting and all of the things that come with parenthood. So anyway, hopefully I'll be back at the end of November with something to show you, and I appreciate all of you. Happy stitching. Bye.